Happy New Year's, everyone. Today I want to go for a ride on my TY175, but I broke the throttle cable last time I was out. So we're going to fix that up, and then we're going to go for a little ride in the snow. The throttle cable broke off right at the twist grip last time I was riding it. So I've already pulled all that apart, and I pulled the old broken cable out. I left the liner so that I don't have to take off the tank and everything and run it again. And I'm just going to run the new cable through the liner and solder the ends on. I should have everything I need here. Roll of cable and a bunch of little cable ends there that I can solder on. The soldering gun's strong enough to do cables. I've done it before. Let's get to it. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is just put one end of the cable on, and then I can run it into the bike and see how long it needs to be before I cut it off. But I might as well already have one end done when I do that. Plenty long enough piece here. I probably should have just kept the old piece to compare, but I think I tossed it out already. That's plenty long. So what we want to do is clean up the end with a tiny bit of sandpaper or something, just to get a bit of the oxide and stuff off, and brake clean it to get any oils off. And then we'll solder one of the ends on. I think let's do the carburetor end first, that way we can run it up through the bike and work up high on the handlebars. Just solder the last piece on. And you can see the grease and dirt coming off of it there. We want it nice and clean so it solders on there really well. Making throttle cables is a lot easier than making something like a brake or a clutch cable that have to work a lot harder. But it's still worth it to do it right, so it never lets you down. When it broke the other day, it's just because it was frayed up at the housing, but that's been in the bike for a number of years, so I wasn't upset. There, that'll be the end that goes in the carburetor. What I can do is open the cable up a little bit. That way when we pull it back and the solder gets into the joint, it'll really fill it up, and that's never going to come apart. Bit of solder paste in there, and I'll wipe some on the cable up high so it can get inside the little brass piece. Well, that cap's gone forever. Into the black hole of the garage. Let me plug my soldering iron in and get this done. Now we can see that the end of the cable is completely full of solder. It's never going to pull through. And I'll just clean up the end for where it goes in the carb so it doesn't get caught on stuff. Okay, now we'll get a rough guess on how much cable we need. I really should check with the old piece, but we're committed now. Say it goes down to the carb like that. Not much. It's gonna come up here. Through. Quite a bit extra. I think I've got enough to last me a lifetime, so. Okay, now I'm gonna run the cable in the end down here. I'll put some lube on it as I go, and it should pop right at the top there. There we go, plenty of extra. And I got plenty down here at the carb. So I'm gonna reattach all the spring and stuff, put the carb back together, and then I can see how long I need to make it before I cut it off and solder it here. I've got a brand new Mikuni on this bike. You can't really find a new original carb for this bike anymore because of its age. But a good upgrade is a slightly larger carb, which is what I have on here. I think it's supposed to be for a little 50cc Cobra, little two-stroke race bikes. But basically it looks exactly like the original carb. It's a 2mm bigger bore, which I think is a big help for this bike. It certainly gave me a good power boost. And just by virtue of it being a new carb, it's not all worn out like the 50-year-old one that was on the bike. Once you get the jetting right, it's an excellent upgrade, and it was pretty cheap. I won a gift card from Fortnite, and that's how I was able to pay for some of it, but I think it was like less than 250 bucks Canadian, and for like one of the best upgrades and pretty much bolt on, like really easy. I think that's well worth it. So we're getting it all together here. It's trying to fight me a little bit. Squeeze all that back together, and then we can go up to the bars once this is all together and actually activate the throttle and make sure everything moves nice. And then we can trim it to length and solder it up top. Wow, that was harder than it needed to be. Now we should be able to pop up here and activate the throttle. No, I did something wrong. Let's try again. Okay, finally got it together, and now we have nice smooth throttle action. So we'll line it up, we'll stick the throttle back on the housing there, and see how long we need this cable to be. We got it lined up on the end there. Get everything nice and hot. There, it just filled up with all that solder. Make a nice little pool. Push it to the end, and then we can grind that little sharp piece off the end after so it rolls nice. But I don't think that's going anywhere. So that should be able to fit in here and pivot nicely. Beautiful. I don't really mind that extra bit of solder. It's not going to hit anything. All right, let's throw this together. All right, it's all back together. Everything works nice and smooth. We got a little bit of slack there. It's a bit too much, so we can just adjust it out. Like any throttle, you want to have a little bit of slack, but not as much as I had. Something like that. And then this rubber piece actually holds that from undoing itself as I ride, just because it's kind of stuck there. Looks perfect. Let's go ride. scramble your way through the bush, and any rock you want to go over, you just aim at it and see what happens. Not trying to go anywhere, just riding. Squeeze sometimes. Just cramming yourself through the worst spots. Where the hell am I going from here? Look, it's all trees. All the wood gets really slippery with this little layer of snow on it. It's a very challenging stuff. I think that's the best thing about these bikes though. You just have fun anywhere, you know? I'm just picking my way through this mess. There's no other bike that would really be fun in here. I think that's it for today, guys. I'm just going to focus on riding before it gets dark. Thanks for watching.